Everyone talks about Diamond like he's untouchable. Calm under pressure. Smart enough to outthink Tommy. Strong enough to rebuild an empire after years behind bars. But what if that calm isn't strength? What if it's a cover for something deeper, something that could destroy everything he's worked for? Diamond isn't weak because he hesitates to pull the trigger. He's weak because he still believes in things this world has already burned to the ground: loyalty, brotherhood, and second chances. And in Tower Book 4 for Season 3, that weakness might finally catch up to him. Diamond isn't just another street boss. He's a man who's been through it all, 10 years locked away, watching the world move on without him. When he came out, the city wasn't the same, his crew wasn't the same, and even his own brother Jenard wasn't the same. Chicago had changed, but Diamond still believed he could come back and do things differently. He thought he could clean up the mess, run CBI with logic instead of blood, and prove that he could survive without losing his soul. But the truth is, that dream has been slipping through his fingers since the moment he walked out of prison. From the start, Diamond tried to separate the man he was from the man he wanted to be. Every decision he made, every move he planned, was about balance, keeping the peace, protecting his people, and staying out of the kind of wars that got men buried. But Power's world doesn't let anyone stay clean for long. The streets feed on weakness, and Diamond's heart, no matter how strong, has always been his soft spot. He wanted to be the voice of reason in a city that only listens to power and fear. That's why every time he hesitates, someone else moves faster. Every time he forgives, someone takes advantage. When we see him step back into leadership, it's not just about running a crew, it's about trying to rebuild something broken. He wants to guide young men away from the mistakes he made. He wants to prove that he can be both the leader and the protector. But what makes Diamond different is also what puts him at risk. He's not cold like Tommy. He's not reckless like Jenard. He's thoughtful, and that thoughtfulness becomes his curse. In a world where hesitation means death, Diamond keeps looking for another way, a smarter way. But when you live by reason in a world ruled by chaos, reason turns into a noose. And yet, that's what makes him so real. Diamond's not some cartoon villain or a heartless boss. He's a man fighting against himself. He's trying to believe that a better version of this life exists, that he can build an empire without spilling blood. But the streets don't believe in hope. They believe in power. And every time Diamond tries to act with his heart, the world around him punishes him for it. That's what makes him such a complex character. He's not just chasing money or control. He's chasing redemption. But redemption has no place in this game. And deep down, he knows it. In Season 3, that conflict grows even louder. Diamond is still trying to hold on to his peace, but the people around him, Tommy, Jenard, and the new players keep dragging him back into the mud. It's like watching a man trying to walk on quicksand. Every move he makes pulls him deeper into danger. You can see it in his eyes, the quiet frustration, the weight of every decision. He wants to be better, but the world keeps testing how far he's willing to go before he breaks. That's Diamond's real struggle, and it's the kind of pain that can't be fixed by power or money. It's the pain of someone who's trying to change in a place that refuses to let him. Diamond's greatest strength has always been his loyalty. To his family, to his crew, to the code he built his life around. But that same loyalty, the one that kept him alive behind bars, is the very thing tearing him apart now. He doesn't see it at first. He thinks loyalty is what separates him from the snakes, what makes him better than men like Walter Flynn or Tommy, who'll burn bridges just to win. But in truth, loyalty is the chain that keeps Diamond from walking away, even when he knows he should. And that chain has a name, Jenard. Jenard isn't just his brother. He's the ghost of Diamond's past. Every time Diamond looks at him, he sees the kid he grew up with, the one he protected, the one he went to prison for. And that's the problem. Diamond isn't seeing the man standing in front of him now, the man who's changed, who's been hardened by greed and jealousy. Jenard doesn't want balance or peace. He wants power. But Diamond keeps holding onto the memory of the brother he once knew. He keeps hoping that somehow, beneath all that anger, There's still family left. That hope blinds him. It makes him hesitate when he should strike. It makes him forgive when he should cut ties. And in Chicago, hesitation is a death sentence. You can feel the weight of that conflict every time Diamond talks about doing what's right. He wants to believe that loyalty means something in a world where everyone's chasing their next dollar. But deep down, he's starting to realize that loyalty without trust is just weakness disguised as honor. The streets don't care that he's trying to play fair. They don't care that he's trying to keep his brother close. They see a man torn between heart and survival, and that's blood in the water. Every rival, every snake in the game can smell it. And that's what makes Diamond vulnerable. But his weakness isn't just Jenard. It's the idea that he can still fix things, that he can control chaos by holding onto his morals. You see it in the quiet moments when he looks out over the city, thinking he can outsmart fate. But Power's world isn't built on peace. It's built on betrayal. The harder Diamond tries to keep things clean, the more he's forced to get his hands dirty. Every choice he makes pushes him further into the darkness he's trying to escape. That's the irony. The man who wants to rise above the streets keeps getting pulled back into them because he refuses to be as ruthless as everyone else. Season 3 shows this more clearly than ever. Diamond is stuck between Tommy's ambition and Jenard's resentment. On one side, Tommy's a force of nature, unpredictable, hungry, ready to burn the whole city down if it gets him what he wants. On the other, Jenard's plotting behind Diamond's back, driven by pride and revenge. Diamond's stuck in the middle, trying to hold the city together like a man patching a sinking ship. He thinks he can keep everyone in line with reason and respect, but that world doesn't exist anymore. The old codes are dead. The only rule now is survival. And Diamond's moral compass, the thing that once made him a leader, has become the very thing pulling him under. It's painful to watch because you know he means well. Every time he gives Jenard another chance, it's not weakness, it's love. But love in Power's universe is a weapon. It's what people use to get close enough to stab you. And no matter how smart Diamond is, his heart keeps giving people that chance. He still believes in loyalty like it's sacred, even when everyone around him treats it like a joke. That's why Diamond's weakness hurts more than any bullet or betrayal. It's not just emotional, it's moral. He's fighting to keep something pure alive in a world that's already buried it. The tragedy of Diamond is that he doesn't know how to be anyone else. He can't switch it off. He can't turn into Tommy, who accepts that love and loyalty only get you killed. Diamond still thinks there's a way to have both power and peace. But Power Book 4 keeps reminding us that those two things can't exist together. And the deeper he goes, the more that truth starts to show. Every choice, every alliance, every quiet moment of hesitation, it all comes back to one thing: the belief that you can be loyal without losing yourself. But in Chicago, that belief might be the most dangerous lie of all. Diamond's weakness isn't about fear or failure. It's about faith, faith in people who don't deserve it, faith in dreams that can't survive in the streets. And as season 3 unfolds, we start to see how that faith will cost him. It's what makes him human, what makes us root for him. But it's also what's going to test how far he's willing to go before he finally learns that in this world, love is the sharpest knife of them all. There comes a moment in every story when the mask starts to crack, when the things you believe in stop protecting you and start destroying you. For Diamond, that moment hits hard in Power Book 4 for season 3. He's tried everything to stay grounded, to run CBI like a businessman, not a killer. He's tried to build peace in a city that only respects war. But peace is expensive, and in Chicago, the price is always paid in blood. The streets are shifting under Diamond's feet, and for the first time, his calm isn't strength, it's pressure. You can feel it building in every decision he makes, every silence that stretches too long. The Diamond we see now isn't the same man who walked out of prison. He's still trying to control the game, but the game is starting to control him. The deeper he gets into season 3, the more the walls close in. Tommy Egan, ruthless, brilliant, unpredictable is both his ally and his biggest threat. Tommy doesn't understand Diamond's restraint. To Tommy, hesitation is weakness, and weakness is something you erase. But Diamond keeps thinking long-term. He wants to outthink the chaos, not feed it. That difference in philosophy becomes a slow burn between them. They need each other to survive, but their codes could never coexist. Tommy plays chess with fire. Diamond tries to play with patience. And patience doesn't win wars, it just delays the explosion. We see Diamond standing in rooms where he used to command respect, and now people are questioning him. His own crew starts to wonder if he's gone soft. His enemies start moving like they smell blood. It's not that Diamond's lost his power. It's that he's losing the illusion that power can be clean. Every time he tries to protect his people, another body drops. Every time he tries to lead with reason, someone uses that reason against him. He's trapped in a cycle he can't break, trying to save a system that no longer exists. That's the real tragedy. The world he's loyal to, the one built on codes and brotherhood, is already gone. The city has changed. The players have changed. Only Diamond is still holding on to the old rules, but the streets don't honor the past. They reward the bold, the ruthless, the ones willing to do what others won't. And Diamond's starting to realize that he can't survive if he keeps playing by his own book. He's watching Tommy move like a storm, unapologetic, decisive, alive, and deep down, a part of him envies that freedom. Tommy doesn't carry guilt. He carries momentum. Diamond carries ghosts. Every choice he makes is haunted by what he's lost: time, trust, family. And as the season unfolds, those ghosts start whispering louder. You can almost feel his patience turning into anger, his restraint twisting into desperation. The question isn't whether Diamond will change, it's how much of himself he'll have to kill in the process. Season 3 forces Diamond to look in the mirror and see what's really there. Not the leader, not the philosopher, just a man caught between who he was and who he's becoming. He's realizing that the world doesn't respect balance, it respects survival. And sometimes survival means crossing lines you swore you never would. The Diamond we meet at the start of this series believed he could rebuild without blood. The Diamond we see now knows that blood is the foundation. That realization doesn't happen all at once. It builds with every betrayal, every false alliance, every quiet moment where he watches the city he loves devour itself. The turning point isn't some big gunfight or revenge scene, it's emotional. It's when Diamond starts to feel the cold. That emotional numbness that creeps in when you stop caring about what's right and start doing what's necessary. You see it in the way he looks at Tommy. There's no more judgment, no more frustration, just understanding. They're both trapped by the same world, just playing different sides of the same lie. Tommy embraced the monster. Diamond's been trying to cage his, but by the time this season hits its midpoint, that cage is breaking. You can see the fire coming back into Diamond's eyes, but it's not peace he's chasing anymore, it's control. The irony is that this transformation isn't victory, it's loss. The calm, logical Diamond that people respected is fading. What's left is a man who's realizing that morality doesn't keep you alive. It just slows you down. The streets don't reward good men. They bury them. And Diamond, the man who once wanted to be both the savior and the strategist, is learning that maybe he has to become what he's been running from. Maybe the only way to protect what's his is to stop pretending that he's different from the rest. That's what makes Diamond's arc in Season 3 so powerful. It's not about power in the usual sense, it's about identity. How much of yourself can you lose before you stop recognizing the man in the mirror? Every move he makes from here on out isn't about peace anymore, it's about survival, control, and the slow realization that the only way to fix what's broken is to break something else first. And when that happens, when Diamond finally stops holding back, Chicago won't be ready for the man he becomes. Because a calm Diamond is dangerous, but a broken one. That's unstoppable. By the time Diamond reaches the final stretch of Power Book 4 for Season 3, he's not the same man who dreamed of peace. The calm strategist, the one who thought he could rebuild the streets through reason, has been stripped down to something raw, sharper, and colder. But here's the twist. What looks like his downfall is actually his rebirth. Because when a man like Diamond loses everything that once defined him, he starts to see the truth. The very weakness that's been haunting him all along is the only thing that still makes him human. Diamond's weakness was never fear. It was his heart, his compassion, his loyalty, his refusal to stop believing that even in a city like Chicago, people could still be better. And that's exactly why the game kept punishing him, because he was trying to bring light into a place that feeds on darkness. But Season 3 begins to twist that weakness into something else. The same loyalty that blinded him now becomes his weapon. He starts seeing through the lies, through the fake alliances and broken promises. He realizes that his ability to feel, to care, is what gives him the edge. Everyone else in this world is fueled by rage, revenge, and ego. But Diamond still understands purpose. He's not fighting to destroy anymore. He's fighting to protect. In the final episodes, that difference becomes everything. While Tommy is consumed by chaos and Jenard keeps falling deeper into his own destruction, Diamond finds clarity. He stops trying to control the storm and starts moving with it. He accepts that the streets will never change, but he also learns that he doesn't have to lose himself to survive them. That shift in perspective changes how he plays the game. He's no longer running from who he was. He's owning it. The ex-con, the leader, the brother, the thinker, they all merge into one. He's finally becoming the kind of man who can exist in both worlds, strong enough to survive the streets, but wise enough not to let them define him. It's almost poetic. The man who once believed in peace through control now finds power through acceptance. He understands that loyalty isn't about protecting people who hurt you. It's about standing for something when no one else will. That's why his presence feels different by the end of the season. His silence carries more weight. His decisions are colder, but also clearer. He's not the dreamer anymore. He's the realist. And in a city full of wolves, the realist is the one who lives the longest. But this transformation doesn't come without cost. Diamond loses people. He loses trust. He loses the version of himself that believed the world could be fair. There's a sadness in that, a quiet grief that follows him in every scene. You can see it in his eyes, the understanding that peace was never the destination. It was the illusion. And yet, even through all that loss, there's strength. Because now, he's no longer waiting for someone to save him, or for loyalty to mean something again. He's decided to create his own meaning, his own rules. The beauty of Diamond's arc is that it mirrors the reality of power itself. Every empire, every leader, every survivor, they all begin with a vision, but they end with a choice. Do you become the monster to beat the monsters, or do you find a way to live among them without losing your soul? Diamond chooses the harder path. He doesn't abandon his heart. He refines it. He learns that strength isn't about being ruthless. It's about knowing when to be ruthless and when to be human. That duality becomes his weapon. And in a show like Power, where everyone's downfall comes from excess, too much greed, too much pride, too much hate, Diamond's balance becomes his armor. By the time the season fades to black, we understand something the other characters don't. Diamond's weakness never left him. It just evolved. It's what makes him unpredictable, what makes him dangerous, and what makes him necessary. Because no matter how violent the streets get, no matter how many people betray him, Diamond still represents something the city desperately needs, a man who knows how to carry both fire and conscience in the same breath when he stands alone. Looking out at the city lights, it's not defeat in his eyes, it's understanding. The game didn't break him. It taught him. The chains of loyalty that once held him back are now the armor that keeps him grounded. And as the tension builds for what's to come next, one thing becomes clear. Diamond's story isn't about falling, it's about evolving. His weakness didn't destroy him. It revealed who he truly was beneath all the chaos. A man with the heart of a leader and the soul of a survivor. In the end. That's the real message of Power Book 4 for Season 3. Power doesn't come from fear or control. It comes from knowing who you are when everything else is stripped away. And Diamond, the man who tried to escape the streets only to master them, finally understands that. His calm is no longer a cover. It's his crown. His weakness is no longer his flaw. It's his force. Because in a world built on betrayal and blood, the strongest man isn't the one who kills without feeling. It's the one who still dares to feel and survives anyway.